Black and gold fans, college football fans, welcome in or welcome back to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, where we examine, discuss, honor, and celebrate all things college football across the entire college football landscape, but with a very special emphasis on our beloved black and gold squads of the Missouri Tigers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Welcome back, guys. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks, and as you can tell from my game day hair, it only means one thing. That's right, it's Picks Day. That's right, this is my Week 11 preview and picks episode. We got some great games on tap here for the upcoming weekend of Week 11 in the college football season, and it's so bittersweet to say that, because here we are already at Week 11. Each and every year, we wait anxiously and hopelessly wait for 8-9 months out of the year to get college football season back, and just like that, it's gone, like sands through the hourglass. So goes the college football season. So it's wrapping up here very quickly, but no need to shed a tear or get too down and out or depressed. Let's go ahead and enjoy what we have right here coming up in front of us, right smack dab in front of our faces. It's going to be a great week of college football this coming weekend. Both of our black and gold squads are in action during Week 11. Missouri takes their talents on the road to number 5 Tennessee, looking to shock the college football world. Going to be a little bit of a tall, tough order, but we've seen bigger surprises. We've seen stranger things happen, and Iowa hosts their rival to the north, Wisconsin. The Badgers come to Iowa City in this year's edition for the Battle of the Heartland Trophy. So big-time games on tap for our black and golds this weekend. Before I say any more, for those of you who've been with me before, or those of you who are with the channel for the first time, thank you for all that you do, your time, your attention, your support. Thank you very much. Everything, the channel is trending in the right direction as far as every aspect. Subscriptions are up, likes are up, views are up, comments are way up, but I need a little bit more help. So please, if you like what you see and what you hear, click that subscribe button. Tell your friends, your fellow college football fanatics, your coworkers, your family members to check me out here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. And as I always say, this is a safe haven for all college football fans. You don't have to be a member of the Black and Gold family because, hey, after all, nobody's perfect. I forgive you. But this is a place where all college football fans can congregate. I want to hear from all of you. I always mention this each and every episode. These episodes are driven by you, the viewer and the fan. I want to hear your comments. I always encourage and welcome your insight, your participation. Just please keep it adult-like. We all know how to act properly. So please feel free. Inquire, ask questions, agree, disagree with some of the things that I present, and I promise you, sooner than later, I will respond to each and every one of you individually to give you a thanks and a shout out for the support of the channel. So what is on tap for today? Obviously, prior to my Week 11 preview and picks, which I do simultaneously, I just wanted to provide you a quick update on the race for the Heisman Trophy Award. Based on what we saw in Week 10, there has been a little bit of movement on my Heisman Trophy shortlist. Want to update you with that as far as my 4 finalists that I would be inviting to NYC if those invites were to go out today. And also give you a list of 2 or 3 individuals who are still in the running, but definitely are on the outside looking in, but could absolutely find themselves on my short list if things end up just shaking out for them in their to benefit them, whether their performances or some of the individuals on my list this week falter a little bit down the stretch. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get it. And before that, one thing I forgot to mention, that the guest picker tournament rolls on. This is now round 2, and I'll give you more information on that prior to my preview and pick segment next. But if you're into that, I mean, right now we are right in the midst of the second annual Touchdown Black and Gold Vlog guest picker tournament. So today starts round 2, and we got a big matchup for you guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get in to my first segment, dealing with your updated Heisman Trophy candidates and my Heisman Trophy watch list pre-Week 11 or post-Week 10, however you want to, what your perspective is, however you want to word that. So the 4 individuals that I have on my Heisman Trophy short list, 2 of them were on my list the last time I shared this with you, and we have 2 individuals who are now making their initial appearance on my Heisman Trophy ballot. First, in alphabetical order, Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker. Even though the Volunteers suffered their first loss last week down between the hedges against Georgia in Athens, Hendon Hooker is still on the short list for the Heisman Trophy award. Absolutely. I mean, he had a good game, but they just ran into a buzzsaw. The defending national champions, who always seem to get up for these type of games under Coach Kirby Smart. Next on my list, making his initial appearance, is kind of one of the best kept secrets in the nation. I'm talking about North Carolina quarterback Drake Maye. This guy's numbers, guys, y'all, I mean, he is absolutely balling out. Showing up, showing out. He can spin it just as well as anybody in the nation. I mean, just simply look at his numbers. 31 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. I mean, he is somebody, I think, more regionally. People know a lot about him out there in ACC country on the East Coast, but this guy is absolutely Heisman worthy. I mean, he really has quickly gained a lot of momentum down here in the second half of the season, and I expect him to stay, especially if North Carolina ends up winning the ACC, I believe that one's the Coastal Division. If they win the Coastal and somehow can knock off Clemson or whoever comes out of the Atlantic, he is absolutely then going to have his Heisman moment, his Heisman game. So at that point, he will, I think, be there when push comes to shove. Now next, a guy I mentioned a couple weeks ago being on the outside looking in, but he was trending in the right direction. I'm talking about Oregon quarterback Bo Nix, the Auburn transfer during the offseason, a guy who now goes from outside looking in to on my short list, continues to lead the Oregon Duck attack, the team that is currently leading the Pac-12 in the standings and via the college football rankings. They checked in this week at number 6. Bo Nix has kind of been reborn, and reborn hard there in Eugene, Oregon, doing everything right, cut down on his inconsistencies. His accuracy is up, his stats overall, and just his decision-making. Maybe he just needed himself a change of venue to really show us what he's capable of. And fourth and final, a guy who is still on my list. He was there last time I shared this with you, and he's been there through thick and thin. I'm talking about Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud. He did have a rough game. Last Saturday at Northwestern, Ohio State did win 21-7 over the lowly Wildcats, but I believe wind gusts were up to 60 miles per hour. The air attack was ineffective. So I expected that anyway. Throughout the entire Big Ten blueprint last week, wind affected everything and everybody. It just did, okay? So his numbers, a little bit last week, but still, he did what he needed to do, showed us what he can do athletically, a couple of big runs. I believe he did rush for a touchdown last week. So he did what he has to do to win, and that is the most important thing. And I got 3 cats who are just on the outside looking in that could get themselves back on this list or make the list for the first time this season. First is Michigan running back Blake Corum. He continues to put up solid numbers, but now that his running mate Donovan Edwards is healthy, they're splitting the carries, so his numbers aren't as eye-popping as they were earlier this season. But hands down, I think he is the best running back in the nation. No disrespect to Bijan Robinson at Texas and you UT fans, but I think Blake Corum is the best running back in the nation. Next, I've got the man who is leading the charge down there in Fort Worth, TCU quarterback Max Duggan, who was on my short list last time. I think he absolutely should be in the running for postseason awards, but overall his numbers aren't all that impressive. Still very good, don't get me wrong, but they're not CJ Stroud, Drake May, Bo Nix, or Hendon Hooker-like, but still, he's going to be there, especially if TCU's magical season continues. They end up going undefeated, going into the college football playoff. He is definitely going to be on a lot of people's Heisman shortlists. And finally, USC quarterback Caleb Williams, a guy who's really lost a lot of momentum. He's not really getting a lot of chatter and talk lately, but if they continue to win, if they're able to win the Pac-12 and the offense continues to perform the way they have under Caleb Williams, who's one of those great composers right now, leading the orchestra, that's the USC offense, he's going to find himself in NYC, guys. All right? So that is my Heisman Trophy shortlist, my updated candidates and standings for the coveted trophy. And I think right now, if I had to pick a Heisman Trophy front runner, even though last week both of them had subpar weeks with CJ Stroud, I mentioned that, and Hendon Hooker definitely ran into a buzzsaw down there, a tough environment, didn't look the same. That offense did sputter a little bit. I still got to think that Hendon Hooker is still right now the leader. I mean, but the others behind him on this list have closed the gap due to what happened last week down in Athens. So let me know, comment, like, share, subscribe, click the button. Let me know what you think about my Heisman Trophy shortlist. Is there somebody that you would think that you'd like to see added, or maybe one of these individuals taken off? Let me know. I want to hear from you, the college football fan. All right, guys, now let's move into probably, which is my favorite segment each and every week. It's time for some picks. That's right. This is my Week 11 preview and picks segment. And if this is your first time with me, let me kind of break it down, how this is going to work out. Each and every week, I picked 15 games, okay? Now, actually, that would be this many. So 15 games. Now, most of these are the big games that are on the radar that most of you know about, but some are kind of more of those off-the-radar games that I think ultimately will matter for conference races, but also maybe bowl eligibility, or maybe I just want to give the chance a shout-out for a team that is coming off a big win or a good season this year, just to give them a little bit of publicity. Because after all, I spread and share the love, all right? I want to celebrate all things college football. So 15 games, and each and every week within those 15, I have 6 specialty games that I pick. I have an academy game of the week, which always includes one of the service academies as my way to say thank you and salute the men and women of the United States Armed Forces. I always pick the non-Power 5 matchup of the week in my eyes. I always pick then the FCS matchup of the week because I love FCS football. A great brand of football is played at the lower level of Division I, so I got to give some shout-outs to the FCS teams. Each and every week that our black and golds take the field, I always pick the Missouri and Iowa games, so I will pick both of their games this week. And after that, I always end up picking my premier spotlight game of the week. And just a little spoiler alert, give you a little hint, this week's premier spotlight game might surprise some of you. It's something to where everybody knows it's a big game, but I think because of what's involved in this and what's at stake, it's got to be the Spotlight Premier Game of the Week. So stay tuned for that. All right. So, and also, too, guys, like I said, the guest picker tournament rolls on. So this is where we stand for the second annual Touchdown Black and Gold Vlog guest picker tournament. I had the first round is completed. 8 individuals participated, and thank you to all of you who did participate. Of those 8, the top 6 advanced based on record, and the top 2 seeds get a first round bye. And so how it shakes out, the 1 seed was the Donovans, the first family who was ever picked here on the Touchdown Black and Gold Vlog. The household, they have the 1 seed. 2 seed goes to Brett, last year's champion of the guest picker tournament. 3 is my boy Charlie, my former co-host, but never partner. Missouri fan number 1 is in the 3 seed. 4 is the boss, not my wife, not Bruce Springsteen. My wife is the boss, but the boss, Sam of where I work, he's the 4 seed. 5 is the kids. That's right, my children made the cut. They're in the 5th seed. And 6th is my brother Anthony. He's in the 6th seed. So today's matchup, along with my picks, it's Charlie versus Anthony to see who advances to the next round as they square off head-to-head. And then the tiebreaker will be total points for my Premier Spotlight game. So let's see what we got. Overall, last week, yours truly went 8-7. I had kind of a rough week. Not bad. So on the season, I'm currently 94-56, good for 63%. I took a step backwards, guys, because once again, if you know this or your first time with me, I set myself a goal. Before the season, I said I wanted to end up 70% or better on the season. So up until last week, I was doing fairly well. Last week brought me down a little bit, but I've got some time to reach that 70% barrier. I just got to have a good few weeks here. All right, so let's go ahead and proceed. I've got the information here that I need. I've got Anthony's information. I got Charlie's picks. Let's go ahead and get it on. All right, so the first game right out of the gate, number 7, LSU travels to Arkansas to take on Pig Sooie, the Hogs. Man, this could be a big potential letdown spot for LSU. Last week, that walk-off overtime winner against their arch rival, Alabama, down in Baton Rouge. I'm kind of interested to see what LSU can do to follow that performance up. Arkansas coming off of a very, very devastating loss at home against Liberty, and Limu, Emu, and Doug. So they're looking. This is a team right now that is hopelessly looking for a victory to get bowl eligible. So this is a big game. Big game for Arkansas and for LSU to continue their climb in the college football rankings. So I always like to go guess first, and I'll start with the higher seed. How does Charlie see this game playing? He just thinks LSU is too much. He's taking the Tigers on the road. Anthony, who gave me, my brother Tony, who gave me a little bit of insight, says, let down for LSU. I like where he's going with this. Arkansas needs a big win to get bowl eligible. And after Liberty loss, they're desperate after that loss to Liberty, as I stated. He likes the Hogs win in a very close game. That's right. Anthony's taken Arkansas to pull the upset here. I love that pick. Absolutely do. I'm going to go and get myself resituated here a little bit, guys. It's all good. Just a little bit. There we go. That's better. As you know, if you've watched me before, guys, I've got a legit day job. I've got 2 children, husband as well. I've got plenty on my plate. I've got a job. I don't do any edits. I don't do any retakes. I don't do any dress rehearsals. I don't have any cool graphics. I'm just a guy who's here to share his love and passion for everything college football with you. Because if I had to do all that stuff, guys, it'd be a job. And this is the hobby, straight up, not a job. All right, and for me, I think Arkansas is going to make this a game. There's no doubt about it. But I just think LSU has too much. In Coach Brian Kelly, we trust. I told you guys he was the best offseason hire of any new coach. No offense or disrespect to Lincoln Riley and what he's done to turn around USC. But Brian Kelly is going to win a championship or chips at LSU. He will. Just trust the process, LSU fans. I'm taking the Tigers as well in this game. Next, speaking of the Liberty Flames, Limu, Emu, and Doug, Liberty travels to UConn. Big game here, guys. Liberty comes in 8-1, a team that I think should be ranked in the college football rankings. They're not quite yet. But UConn, I mean, what a great unknown story. No longer is UConn, guys, the whipping boy of the college football world. They've been dormant. They've been in purgatory for oh so long after the Big East collapsed. They were independent. They even stopped playing football for a couple of years. But this year, under first-year coach Jim Mora Jr., what a turnaround. They beat UMass, the Minutemen, last week to get to 5 wins. They got 2 more chances to get bowl eligible. And that, to me, would be one of, if not the biggest story of the year in college football, to have UConn get back to a bowl game. How great would that be? But let's see if that's something that they can punch their ticket this week or have to wait another week. Let's see here what the guests think. Charlie, he's taking Limu, Emu, and Doug, he likes Liberty, the Flames. My brother says, speaking of the Flames, who basically did defeat Arkansas, as we mentioned, Liberty will delay the story of the year and leave UConn needing to beat Army. Next game to get to 6 wins. Liberty all over the Huskies. So my brother Anthony, he also likes Liberty. Me, I want to take UConn, guys. I might even, I'm not saying that. It's in Hartford. They're playing good ball. I think their fans will show up. And the fans, whatever fans they might have left, I think they'll come back. The students will be there. They know what's on the line. That being said, I'm also taking Liberty. I think they're too much for UConn. So next week, go UConn. We got to get it done. We got to get you back to a bowl game. Next game, number 9, Alabama, looking to rebound after that loss at LSU last week. They traveled to number 11, Ole Miss, and former Nick Saban assistant coach Lane Kiffin. The Lane train is trugging along down there in Oxford, doing their thing. So, big-time battle. I mean, top 11 battle. I mean, 2 teams both have, well, Ole Miss has 1 loss at LSU. Alabama's coming off 2 losses. I think 2 losses within the last 3 weeks, I believe. So, can Ole Miss stay in the race with LSU? And can Alabama still stay in the race as well, even though they're going to need a lot of help? LSU would have to lose 2 games, and Bama win out for them to win the SEC West. Let's see what our guest pickers think. Charlie, he's not buying the Lane train, not quite yet. He's taking Alabama in this game. My brother, he says, don't make Bruce Bama angry. I love this. You wouldn't like Bama angry. Bama, smash Ole Miss. He's taking Alabama as well as Tony. And me, I've said this before, guys. Nobody else does it better than the GOAT. Nobody else takes more from a loss than Coach Nick Saban. I think this will be a close game for potentially 3 quarters, but I like Alabama and the magic of quarterback Bryce Young to continue. I like Alabama to roll as well. We're all taking the Tide. Next game is a good, fun matchup in the Fun Belt/Sun Belt Conference. Appalachian State travels to the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Big-time game in Huntington, West Virginia. And these 2 teams, guys, are 2 of the biggest enigmas to me this college football season. They're both really difficult to really figure out. They've both shown us great football and also not so much. Bad football as well. I mean, 2 teams that have been very inconsistent. Both have big wins. Appalachian State going to Texas A&M and beating the fraud, Jimbo Fisher, in College Station. And Marshall, week 2, going to South Bend and knocking off Notre Dame in the presence of Touchdown Jesus. So let's see what our guest pickers think about this matchup in the Sun Belt. Charlie, he likes Appalachian State in this game, which that's a good pick. There's no doubt about it. Appalachian State, definitely quarterback Chase Bryce, stud, one of the best quarterbacks y'all don't know anything about. And yes, I just said y'all. Wow. So Charlie, he likes Appalachian State. My brother in this game says it's a great Fun Belt matchup. I'll go with the better defense at home, that being Marshall, who statistically does have the much better defense. Coming off a road shutout at Old DU, Oda, referencing Marshall there. The Thundering Herd takes down Appalachian State. So Anthony, he likes Marshall. Me, this is a tough one for me, guys. I love Appalachian State, have a winning culture, have a great history. Just ask A&M this year, ask Michigan, right? The Michigan fans, they'll tell you the same thing. But I think at home, I just think Marshall is just playing a little bit better recently. So I'm also taking the Thundering Herd in this game. Next game, a battle of the Bulldogs. That's right. Number 1, Georgia, after their dismantling last week of Tennessee, they looked the complete part in a very, very convincing victory over number 1 Tennessee at the time. Number 1 Georgia travels to Starkville to take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, and more cowbell. Could this be a letdown position for Georgia? I mean, we've seen this year in and year out, guys. Could this be one of those situations, coming off such a euphoric victory, come out a little bit flat, and then fall victim to a lesser opponent on the road? Let's see what our guest pickers think. Charlie in this game, he just says Georgia rolls. So that's enough said for me right there. He likes the ranked Bulldogs in this matchup. My brother says, in the Battle of the Bulldogs, I love Will Rogers, which I do too. Another one of those guys who doesn't get the credit he deserves. Guy can spin it just as good as anybody in the nation, and he can. He says, I love Will Rogers, but even Steve Rogers would not make a difference in this game. Georgia marches on. So for those of you who missed it, Steve Rogers, a.k.a. Captain America. So Anthony, he also is taking Georgia. Guys, I'm going to say this right here and now. I've already referenced it. Potential big letdown game. Huge victory on the road. And next week, guys, big game for Georgia. They're at Lexington to take on Kentucky, which definitely on paper deems to be a little bit more of a challenge to Georgia, especially because they're in the SEC East. So I really like this position, guys. And if you recall, if you watched my 2022 Bold Predictions episode, if you think I'm crazy, this guy right here said that the two big upset headline-grabbing losses this year in the SEC, one would be Tennessee over Alabama. I called that well before the season started. And I also said Mississippi State would upset Georgia. I'm taking the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. That's right. I just want to be able to tell you guys, hey, I told you so. I just think because of the letdown situation and the look ahead to Kentucky, and also Mississippi State is going to throw Georgia something they don't see every week, that high-flying aerial attack of the run and gun. I think that's just going to be something that Mississippi State is just going to outscore them. Physically, they can't match up, but I think they get a turnover here or there, enough stops, if not just one stop, and they outscore the Georgia Bulldogs. That's right. Again, I'm taking Mississippi State. That's right. I'm doing it. Next game, huge tilt in the Big 12. Number 19, Kansas State, looking to bounce back after last week's loss at the hands of Texas. They travel to Baylor. The Bears are playing very, very more consistent, sound football as of late. The game is down in Waco. Can K-State continue to be in the Big 12 race? I think one more loss could actually eliminate them from reaching the Big 12 Conference Championship game. Let's see what our guest pickers think. In this matchup, Charlie, he thinks the Bears are playing way more consistent. It'll be a tough bounce-back game. He's taking the Baylor Bears. My brother, he says K-State needs a win to stay in the Big 12 race. A loss means they'll have lost to all three leaders in the conference, which is true. But that being said, the Big 12, guys, I've been saying this for weeks upon weeks, the Big 12, hands down, is the deepest, most competitive conference, period, this year in the nation. Let me know what you think about that statement. Subscribe, like, share, comment. So he says, I say the Deuce gets loose and Kansas State wins at Baylor. He's taking the Wildcats on the road. Me, I love that. Deuce Vaughn, the Deuce probably will be loose, especially if you're eating a lot of chili this weekend. It's going to be very cold throughout most parts of the country. It's going to get very cold the next few days. But me, I just think at home, down in Waco, the Gaines are going to be there in attendance. They're fixing up their Baylor Bears and Coach Dave Aranda. I like Baylor at home as well to get it done. Next game, big game in the Pac-12. Pac-12 championship implications, but also playoff implications. Number 25, Washington travels to Eugene to take on number 6, Oregon. It seems to me, guys, all Oregon has to do is just keep on winning. Just like Al Davis once said, just win, baby. And they'll probably find themselves in the college football playoff. Let's see if what we believe, can the Huskies go there and pull the upset at one of the most ruckus environments in the nation? Let's see right now. Charlie in this game, he's just going, he says, fight on, Ducks. So he's taking Oregon. My brother, someone call PETA because the Huskies get a beat down and it continues. Woo! So right there, strong statement there from my brother. Just like Liberty, I expect Oregon to destroy Washington. Ducks big. Woo! So he's also going to go ahead. So he's going against both Huskies this week, is my brother. He likes Oregon at home. Me, I told you, Bo Nix, he's one of my Heisman Trophy finalists as of right now. I continue them to keep doing what they do. I also like Oregon at home, so we're all taking the Ducks. Next game, another huge tilt. Not in the Big 12. Big 12 conference title implications. Definitely playoff implications. Number 4, TCU, under first-year coach Sonny Dykes. They travel to Austin to take on number 18, Texas. UT coming off a big win last week at Kansas State. And I love the storylines in this game. Longtime legendary coach at TCU, Gary Patterson, who also has a statue outside the stadium in Fort Worth, was relieved midway last year. He now finds himself on the Texas staff as, I believe, an assistant coach or an analyst. I love the backstory with this. Huge game. Can TCU's Cinderella run and season continue? Which I think almost everybody is surprised. Me, not at all, because if you watched my preseason bold predictions episode, I picked TCU to reach the Big 12 championship game. I did not pick them to win it, though, but I said they would reach it. So this guy right here, he's not surprised. Once again, I'm not trying to brag, I'm just saying I do know a thing or two about this game, guys. So let's see what the guest pickers think about this huge matchup. Charlie, he says there's no slowing down, or via Predator 2, there's no stopping what can't be stopped. He's taking TCU in this game to pull a huge upset against their in-state rival. And via history, TCU, especially lately, has had a huge amount of success against the Longhorns. Charlie's taking TCU. Anthony says, I want to pick TCU. Max Duggan is an Iowa kid, which he is, and I'm sure Iowa probably didn't even recruit him or even give him a look, more than likely. Pretty typical. Or actually, because he's a quarterback that can actually run, too, not just throw, which obviously doesn't fit the Iowa quarterback recruiting profile. At least Coach Kirk Ferentz is consistent with that and his staff. So he's an Iowa kid. Frogs are a great story and still can have a storybook season, but they are leaving Austin with a loss. Bijan and Bevo get it done. Anthony's taking Texas at home. And me, I'm echoing what my brother said. TCU, I've been on board from day one. I think even with one loss, they rebound, win the Big 12. I think they are in over a one-loss ACC conference winner, a.k.a. Clemson. Probably deserve to get in over a one- or two-loss Pac-12 champion. I think they do. That being said, I like Texas. I think they're just too much for the Horned Frogs in Austin. So I'm taking Bijan and Bevo as well to get it done. Next game, number 9. Huge game within the Big Ten West. My division. To the winner, potentially go the spoils. It's such a huge winner-take-all matchup. I'm talking Purdue traveling to number 21 Illinois. Purdue coming off that shocking loss last week in West Lafayette at the hands of my Hawkeyes. Illinois trying to get off the mat after that huge upset loss at home against lonely Michigan State. Can't really figure that out. Illinois' 2 losses this year to Michigan State and Indiana, 2 of the worst teams in the Big Ten Conference. But whoever wins this game, guys, is going to be the leader to take the Big Ten West, especially Illinois. If Illinois wins, guys, I don't want to say you can lock it up, but Illinois fans start looking at tickets for Indianapolis. If Purdue wins, they still are going to need a little bit of help because they have lost tiebreakers now against Iowa and Wisconsin. They would have the tiebreaker over Illinois. So huge, huge game. And there's going to be ripple effects within the rest of the Big Ten West as well, which I'll get to that here shortly. Let's see what we think about this game. Charlie, Illinois, too physical, at home. Coach Brett Bielema won't let that happen. Another letdown. Charlie likes the Fighting Illini. Anthony, what he says, Purdue is simply not playing good football over the last month. Loss at home to Iowa. Got physically dominated in Madison a couple weeks ago. Illinois lost the stunner last week, but get right and all but lock up the Big Ten West. Illinois silences that big-ass drum with a huge win in Champaign. So Anthony, he's also taken Illinois. Me, it's really a tale of 2 different styles. Physicality of Illinois, who wants to control both lines of scrimmage, grab you and drag you into a phone booth. Purdue wants to simply try to outscore you, air it out. They're not going to run. It's not in their DNA. 3rd and inches, 4th and inches, they're going to pass. Iowa, I think, exposed them last week, as did Wisconsin, who's now defeated them, I think, 14 or 15 straight times. The key is just being more physical than Purdue. They just don't have the roster and the assets to live up and fight back against a team that is physical. Illinois, hands down, is. We're all taking Illinois. We like Illinois in this matchup. Huge game in Champaign. Next now comes my specialty games, and the first one is my Academy game of the week, and it's the Black Knights of Army. They march to Troy to take on the Sun Belt team. Troy's having a great season. Army, not so much. Let's see what we think. Charlie simply says Troy in this matchup. My brother says tough season for Army continues under Coach Jeff Monken. Coach Monken. It's been a tough year for the Black Knights in that triple option offense. Troy moves to 8-2 thanks to its very stingy defense. One of the better defenses in the nation, guys. okay? And a lot of people don't know about them. Anthony's also taken Troy. Me, I love the triple option. It's hard to root against the military men and women, but I'm taking Troy. We all like Troy in this matchup. Next, my non-Power 5 matchup of the week. Big game within the Mountain West Division. The San Jose State Spartans travel to the San Diego State Aztecs. A matchup of two historically big-time civilizations throughout history, the Spartans and the Aztecs. And the winner of this keeps pace with Fresno State, but they would still be one game behind the Bulldogs. Let's see what we think about this matchup. Charlie, he likes the Spartans. Whether it's 300 or 11, he's taking the San Jose State Spartans. Anthony, he says, one of these teams needed a last-second field goal to beat Hawaii. I will not be picking that team. San Jose State, he's also taking the Spartans. Me, I don't have much to add or say. Just like Pedro, I don't have much to say. I'm also taking San Jose State. We all like the Spartans. Next game is my FCS matchup of the week. And now we turn to the Brainiacs. Big game within the Ivy League. The Princeton Tigers travel to Yale. Big time matchup within the Ivy League. Princeton currently is on top of the league. Let's see what we think about that. What team wins based on physicality, athletes, players, coaches, more degrees. Let's see what we all think. In this matchup, Charlie, he's taking the Tigers of Princeton. Anthony says, Princeton trying to repeat as Ivy League champs. Best Yale to set up a winner-take-all game versus Penn. He's taking the Tigers as well. Me, I'm taking the Princeton Tigers as well. So that's a Princeton sweep for that matchup. Next games deal with our black and golds. Let's start with Missouri traveling to number 5 Tennessee. Please, guys, subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know what you think. Missouri at number 5 Tennessee. Tennessee trying to bounce back after last week's loss at Georgia. Oh, wow. It would be another tough loss for Missouri last week against Kentucky at home in Columbia. Had several chances to finally get the monkey off their back against Kentucky, that team that's been a thorn in their side. Will they come out inspired? Can they pull the upset of the year at Tennessee? Or does Tennessee bounce back and bounce back big? I mean, they are right now still in position for an at-large berth, and they are sitting in the 5-hole. Let's see what our guest pickers think first. Charlie, Mizzou fan number 1, is taking Tennessee without much thought. Anthony says, Missouri at Tennessee. I'm not taking these Tigers. He likes the Volunteers big, so he gave love to the Princeton Tigers, but not the Missouri Tigers. He likes Tennessee. Me, Missouri, I think it's going to end up being a season of a lot of what-ifs. If just certain things would have gone their way, this is a tough spot for them. I like Tennessee to bounce back and bounce back big. We all like the Volunteers this week. Next game, battle for the Heartland Trophy in Iowa City. Wisconsin travels to Iowa. Big time game, because if Purdue goes to Illinois, guys, and knocks off the Fighting Illini in Champaign, then the winner of this game is absolutely alive in the Big Ten, because both Wisconsin and Iowa beat Purdue. So they would have tiebreakers, but Illinois defeated both Iowa and Wisconsin, and that would be their third Big Ten loss, which Wisconsin and Iowa already have, but they still have to go to the Big House and play Michigan. So huge weekend, huge Saturday for the Big Ten West, and this is the late afternoon kickoff, and the Purdue-Illinois game is the early kick, so they will know prior to kickoff what happened there in Champaign. Can Iowa actually defeat their rival when it matters? I mean, last week I said Purdue has been our daddies. They've owned us, especially since Jeff Brom has joined the Purdue staff as the head coach. So if they're our daddies, then Wisconsin would be our great-granddaddies. The better part of 15 years, they've owned us. We've only defeated them once when it really mattered, being in 2015. We did beat them the last time they came to Iowa City in the COVID year of 20, but that didn't matter. Iowa still finished a game behind Northwestern. It's just big that Iowa can win this game, guys. I mean, Wisconsin, they're the standard setter in the Big Ten West. I'm jealous. They have the better program. Grant, this year there's a lot of issue. There's some turmoil. Paul Chryst is out. This is a chance for Iowa. Can they do it? Just to prove to themselves moving forward that they can defeat these guys occasionally. I believe Wisconsin's won 8 out of the last 10 in this series, so not much of a rivalry. Let's see what our guest pickers think here first. Charlie, he just thinks Wisconsin, they know who they are, more physical. They won't turn the ball over. They won't beat themselves. He likes Wisconsin to come into Kinnick with a big and take home a big victory to stay in the Big Ten West race. Anthony in this game says Wisconsin playing better since Paul Chryst was let go, which they are. I expect points to be in premium, take the under, and the Badgers to win in a slugfest. So I agree with that. As far as the points, it's going to be low scoring. I think in this matchup, 17 points probably could win. 20, I think, absolutely wins. But what I think it's got to be it. Iowa last 2 weeks has looked like a different team. I'm still not going to say I'm completely convinced. There's been a turnaround, especially offensively. But I think they know this is a big game. They have to win it. Bowl eligibility is their big prize for this. And also keeping the Heartland Trophy for 1 year in Iowa City. It's their time. I'm taking Iowa. I just think they're playing better. They're at home. I think that's the edge. It's supposed to be good weather. I'm taking the Hawkeyes at home. Next game is our premier spotlight game of the week, and I'm telling you, I love it. I saw the opportunity. I had to pick it because it is a matchup of two, not one, but two teams at the non-Power 5 level. And there's huge stakes in this game. I'm talking number 22, UCF travels to number 17, Tulane. Both of these teams are on top in the American Athletic Conference. So huge as far as the AAC standings, but also potentially for the New Year's Six berth, which goes to the highest ranked non-Power 5 conference champion. So that's going to set that up as well. There aren't any divisions in the American Athletic. The top two teams meet up in the championship game. So these two teams could even match up in a rematch later this season. Huge game down there in Tulane. Let's see what our guest pickers think. Charlie thinks Tulane, I've seen them. He believes in them. They did defeat Kansas State in the Little Big Apple in Manhattan earlier this season. He likes Tulane to get it done. My brother, he says, I'm on the Crimson Tide, the Thundering Herd, and the Green Wave. Okay. Tulane is quietly rolling along as the best, least publicized team in the land. I love this matchup between the only two non-Power 5 teams that are ranked in the college football rankings. He's like, I love how that was chosen as the spotlight game of the week. I predict a coming out party down in Nolens. I love that. As the Green Wave take a big step toward a New Year's Six bowl berth. How great would it be to see a Tulane Sugar Bowl berth? And that's right, the Sugar Bowl. They're in the Dome. I believe it's the Mercedes Dome now in New Orleans. So how great would that be to have Tulane, the home team there? That'd be great. He says, so how great would that be? Tulane, 31. He likes Laze. I'm trying to do my best now. I might murder this. Laze los bon tempos rule. Let the good times roll. He likes Tulane as well. Me, I love this. Tulane, big opportunity. I believe only had 2 wins last year. What a great comeback victory for them. They've stayed together. They've trusted the process. I like the Tulane Green Wave as well. We're all taking Tulane. And the total points, in case my brother and Charlie tie the total points for this matchup, Charlie has said 58 points. My brother Anthony has said 51. So we'll see if it comes down to total score in that matchup as well. So that's it, guys. That's my Week 11 preview and picks episode. Thank you for being here with me. I mean, none of this would be possible without your support, your attention, your time, your love, everything. Please subscribe, like, share, comment the hell out of the episode. Let me know what you think. I promise I will keep you involved. I will probably give you shout outs here on the show. I will respond to your comments, your questions, your concerns. Thank you for all that you do. Enjoy the upcoming weekend. Stay warm. Enjoy the football. Enjoy your families, your friends, your hobbies. Expect to find me back on Monday afternoon, either a mid or late afternoon. My Week 11 review and recap episode should be posted here on the channel. So until then, enjoy yourself. Best of luck. Take care. Stay safe. And I'll see you next week here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Take care. Bye-bye.